It's gonna be well, I'll be briefing IFR flight from Independence to Mammoth Yosemite Park. The reason why I want to include a little bit more IFR flights from now on, or at least some procedures, because we've been flying for some time, and I believe that VFR flights as such are very nice. I really love them. But as far as like learning goes, they tend to be very similar to each other. There is basically very rarely something that is special. So I will still include VFR flights, but I would like to include a little bit more IFR procedures, especially when we have something special there. So I hope that you'll like it. If the weather is nice, nobody forces you to file an IFR flight plan. You are very welcome to fly VFR as normal. And in that case, I hope that at least the briefing will provide some learning opportunity. As always, you are free to interrupt me and ask during the briefing, and I'm gonna start. I kind of didn't include the pictures here. We'll go on the website and check them live. But I have the updated METARs and TAFs. Not for our departure, but for the destination and the airport in the middle. What I noticed was the kind of difference in the air pressure setting. Here we have 3016 and here we have 29907, and those airports are not that far from each other. I've been trying to determine what might be the cause for such a steep pressure gradient, and I think that maybe it might have to do something with the different altitude or elevation of these airports, but still I cannot like fully explain why that would be so just based on the elevation, because this is the air pressure reference to the mean sea level. I mean sea level 0. So we'll see on the weather charts what might be the explanation maybe. As of the wind, we don't seem to have any wind information for Bishop Airfield, but we have some wind at Mammoth Yosemite. Seems that it will be blowing down the runway, which is good for us, and we'll see what approach we'll manage. The forecast calls for yeah, basically forecast says exactly what the situation is there right now, and for Bishop you have verbatim. Let's check the website, and that's for example here. So this is a prog chart, and here we can like immediately see why maybe we have some pressure gradient there. We have a like a system of high pressure here and lower pressure there. I don't think that it's that much difference to account for such a big difference on this short distance. But since I am not like a weather expert, I don't have any closer like explanation. Maybe it's just what it is. Current observations. This is what we basically saw in the METARs, and you can see there you have a temperature in Fahrenheit and dew point. You have visibility, pressure settings, and cloud coverage. Here we have clear clouds, and there we have some cloud coverage. If I check especially clouds for us, because well, it's gonna be IFR, but still we want to see, we want to know what clouds we can expect. So I'll just check a few hours ahead, and basically we don't have any significant clouds expected at the lower altitudes. Next up, winds. I'll just cycle this. We can see that at surface we have a very variable winds all over the place, so I cannot really say what the condition will be when we arrive or when we depart. So we'll see just before departure what we're gonna use. Altitude, let's say 9,000 feet, that's too low probably. So 12,000, yeah, there's basically no significant wind. So we might expect some winds from the east when we are up in the air, but that's about it. All right. So I believe that for the weather that would be all right for now. Forward. Our destination has a runway 9er and 27, and as you can see, it lies at the foot of the mountain range here. And we'll see from the approach charts that we will need to navigate and those mountains and be safe. We should have like visual meteorological conditions, so there is really no big risk that we would run into terrain, but still we will try to maintain the tracks as the approach dictates. Route planning. Route planning basically starts for IFR flight with checking what available approaches we have. So I have here Mammoth Yosemite Airport page, and if I scroll down, you can see that there is only one instrument approach procedure, and that's a RNAV GPS runway 27. Already open. Or someone can actually tell me what are the points from which we can start our approach. Can you name a few of those? Anyone?
Well, it looks like Bishop VOR is one of them.
Bishop VOR, and what kind of point, or is it?
That would be an initial approach fix.
Exactly. And how do you know that it's initial approach fix?
It says IAF on top of
Exactly.
Bishop.
Yes. So any point that has this IAF is the initial approach fix, and we are perfectly fine to start the approach from there. And the other points that would be initial approach fixes. I can see ever here. That's another option, but obviously that one would be used mainly if you come from the north. And what about this? What about this Nicol or Vale whale? What are those points? Can we fly from them?
Yes.
Yes. And how are those sections or these legs called? Any idea?
I'm gonna go with feeder route.
Yes, that's exactly right. Those are so-called feeder routes, and you can recognize them on the approach charts by usually having a bold arrow, and what must not be missing is the minimum en route altitude, course, and distance. If those three informations are there on any leg, it means that it's a flyable leg, and if that leg is before the initial approach fix, it's a so-called feeder route. I personally do not have any idea why I would be starting the approach from Valle if I can start it from Bishop. There is no airway I could find that would be passing through Valle, so really not sure what what goes there. But from the north, if we are coming from the north, Nickel is a very good point from where to start the approach, and the ATC can even clear you all the way from Nickel to fly the approach. Here, if we are coming from the north, what's really not normal, what's special, I believe, is that there is a more than 90-degree turn coming on the still not on the final approach course, obviously, but still there is a turn that is more than 90 degrees. And if that ever happens, usually there is a halt in lieu of procedure turn depicted. Something akin to this, but this is not a mandatory procedure turn because it's not in solid line. It's the dashed line, which means it's part of the missed approach procedure. So you can ignore it for now. But so this is kind of special, and I originally wanted to try to fly from Nickel, but I kind of couldn't find any justification why would any pilot choose not to start it from Bishop if we are coming from the south. And at the end of the day, it won't be that different. It's just a little sharper turn, that's all. So me personally, I will start the approach from Bishop and be glad with that. Having identified those points where I can start the approach, I can then check what procedures we have available for our departure airfield. So if I go here, right click and bring up the Independence page, and I scroll down, I don't see any instrument approach or any instrument procedures. We have a list of nearby airports with instrument procedures, but we don't have an instrument procedure for the airport we are at right now. That doesn't mean that we cannot fly IFR. We obviously can. It just means that if there is any weather, it would be really dangerous. And if we check the sectional chart, we can see immediately why. Because we have high terrain on the right, on the left, and it might be, you can still try to wing it, and fly in the clouds and hope that you are able to maintain course. I personally wouldn't. Luckily for us today, we have a VMC conditions, so we can easily depart under visual flight rules or even instrument flight rules, but there is just not any departure procedure that we can adhere to, and we'll just probably lift off and then go direct this VOR. So that's it. So having identified both the approach and departure, we can plan the route or route, whatever you want to pronounce it as. And I think that since Bishop is our initial approach fix, that's obviously it will be in our plan. And then we don't have any routes or any air routes that we could use. And it's also a rather short distance, so the flight plan will be quite easy, and that will be to Oscar 7, direct Bishop, direct Mammoth Yosemite, and that's it. You could see that I included one point there called Yasat. I will bring it back. That's just for me to see how, what will be my ground track, because Yasat is one of the points here at the approach. It's intermediate fix, and will come. I'll proceed with briefing this approach a little bit later. So that's it. And I believe since we are talking about the flight plan, I believe that it's a good time to actually file one. You might have noticed, and it's valid for some time with the new version of vPilot. If you click flight plan, you will be taken on the to the website, and that's the only place you can now file flight plan. So I'll just go through that. So if you are unfamiliar, then maybe see how it's done. And so my call sign will be Oscar Kilo Golf Papa Charlie. Flight rules will be IFR today. Aircraft type, I have a PA-24. Weight category, obviously light. Equipment, I have a FAA and I will file a Golf today because I usually file Alpha, but today I need to be able to, or I need to be able to accept the GPS approach. Transponder, I can skip that if I have a FAA equip. Departure will be a 207. Off block, let's say that it's now 1850. So let's see, 1915, something like that. Altitude. Alright, so let's check it. What altitude we should file? We are going westbound, so it's gonna be even thousands. But what altitude to file? On the approach, we could see that from Bishop we are able to fly 11,000, right? However, there is no air route here, or there is no Victor air route here. So what altitude to file? I would say that we should file something higher than is the Oroka, which is this one, 16,500. I'm just not sure if I file like 18,000, then I'm even able to like climb there. So not having like an IR license anywhere, not even in the not in the United States, not here. I'm quite unsure what to file. I would probably file just 12,000. I hope that maybe there might be some minimum vectoring altitude that is below this one in this valley, but I'm not quite sure. Since I'm flying in visual conditions, I will go ahead and file 12,000 feet. I don't really know if it's entirely correct, so sorry if it's not. Airspeed knots, I think I will do around 140 knots today. Arrival is KMMH. Alternate. Do I need to file an alternate today? Do you think? Any guesses?
I think alternates are required for IFR flights.
Any other opinion?
Yes, everyone to fail.
Right, everyone else is almost quiet. So in the US, it's not required to file an alternate every time. It's a good practice, but if the weather forecast is good enough, and good enough means that if the weather conditions and the forecast 1 hour before and 1 hour after your planned planned arrival is 2000, like if the cloud layer or the cloud ceiling is 2000 feet or more, and your visibility is 3 statute miles or more, then you don't need to file an alternate. So strictly speaking, I don't need to do that today, but obviously I can. So where were we? So I will just enter one of the alternates, which is Bishop, just for the sake of it. En route time, yeah, that's what I wanted this one for. So speed 140, altitude 120, and I will be departing, say 20 Zulu, and it should take me 29 minutes, so some maneuvering, so maybe 30 minutes. So I'll 35, so 0035. Fuel endurance, I have around 40 gallons, which for my aircraft is about 3.5 hours, so like that, fuel endurance. Route details, that's easy, that's just BIH. and the rest I can leave like it is. And I can file a flight plan, and I immediately got this auto ATC saying that there doesn't appear to be any controller, but I should squawk this code for a flight. So if any control comes online, they are able to identify me immediately. Okay. Anything unclear here? Filing a flight plan. If not, I'll move forward. So where were we? Why is this? Okay. All right. So departure. In the US, we use something called CRAFT acronym. When you are getting your clearance, you can structure it in a way that under the C, you enter your clearance limit. Usually it's the airport, a final airport. Under the route, you like write what route you are cleared for, what altitude, what frequency after departure, and what squawk code you should set. So it's a very handy acronym, and you can fill it in, and then you are able to first have a record of what your clearance is, and also it makes it easier for you to repeat that to the controller. We filed a flight plan already. Determine runway. So looking again at the weather, and I'll just see what the current wind is. I believe that departure most likely be from like to the south today. That means that we'll use runway, and I forgot what runway it has. So we should use runway 14 today. So I estimate that after departure, that one, after departure, we'll probably do like a VFR departure until just when we are at least 1500 feet above the airport. We can turn back and then go on course, or just tune the VOR and navigate direct to that. So I would depart, and probably it's gonna be a left turn. Let me just verify that. Runway 14 has a left traffic pattern, so we should turn left if anything. If you climb enough before turning, you are free to do whatever you want, but I believe that due to the terrain, left turn is more safer. VFR departure and IFR clearance in the air. That's probably something that we would do today if we had an ATC. That means that you don't contact any ATC until you are in the air, and then you just use the first one. No, this one. I actually don't have a script for you to use when you are getting your IFR clearance in the air, but it's basically yeah, basically this one. It's the same. You just say your call sign, where you are, and where you want to go. Just the clearance will be a little bit easier because you will not get the departure frequency, obviously, but you will get all the rest. So feel free to reference that if needed. If we are getting IFR clearance already on the ground, it's a little bit more complicated, but sometimes you cannot get around that, especially in the weather. And then you just need to understand and remember that there is something called one in, one out rule. And that means that at any single time, only one aircraft can be cleared to either depart or arrive under IFR rules. And until that aircraft has completed their departure or arrival, nobody else will get cleared in or out of that airport. So if the weather is good enough, it's always good to first depart VFR if you can, and also when you are arriving to cancel the IFR plan already in the air if you can. Remember, we have the CETA frequency that we need to tune to self-announce here, and we'll do self-announcements. That's for departure. Yeah, about that climb. I'll probably skip that, but basically you should be able to calculate how fast you'll be climbing. So this chart is the dependence of a rate of climb on density, altitude, and different weights of the aircraft. So if I, for example, find out that my rate of climb should be 700 feet per minute, I can look now here based on my ground speed. Let's say that in the climb I will have a ground speed at about 120 or maybe something in the middle knots. So I will find where is roughly 700 feet per minute. That's maybe in the middle of this one somewhere. And that means that I will climb around 400 feet per nautical mile. And that will help me to determine, if I am able to climb a certain distance or not, or clear any obstacles. So 400 feet per nautical mile. If my lag first from the airport all the way to Bishop is 34 miles, I know that I will make it. I will make the climb to 12,000 feet easily. En route arrival, yeah, again, basically before you arrive at your initial approach fix or start of the approach, if you are using the feeder route, you should already be cleared for that approach. And it's always good if you are nearing that point to actually contact the ATC if we have them proactively and tell them that you have a approach request, and they will usually assign you the approach that you want if the operational reasons do not prevent them from doing so. On that sim, you're most likely used to the controllers giving you a certain approach that doesn't prevent you from requesting another one. And again, if it's available and it's not such a hassle for them, they will give or clear you for the approach that you want. Some terminology here. That is something you can hear when you are getting cleared for the approach. Let's say that you are flying at those 12,000 feet, and they will tell you that you should cross Bishop at or above 11,000, and you are cleared for RNAV GPS runway 27 approach. You will repeat that obviously, and then you're flying at 12,000, but they say that you should cross at or above 11,000. So does it mean that you need to start descending immediately? No, it doesn't. So there's just, when they say you that, they're basically telling you that you can start the descent if you want to, but you don't need to. And then there is a rule. If you do start the descent before reaching Bishop, you are obliged to tell them. So you would do something like leaving 12,000 descending to 11, sorry, leaving 12,000 descending to 1,000, to let them know that you have started your descent. But if you start your descent after Bishop, which means that you are already in the published approach or in the area of published approach, then the vertical profile is entirely up to you, and you don't need to tell them that you have started descent or that you are starting it. I hope you see the slight difference in that when you need to tell it and when not. Usually, and we're actually getting there, so I will pull up that chart now. Let's say that you are flying at 12,000 feet and you are nearing Bishop, and then you have a minimum en route altitude of 11,000 feet. That means that you need to maintain that 11,000 all the way to Yasat or Jasat. You cannot descend below that. So does it make sense to start the descent before Bishop? Obviously not. I can fly at 12,000 feet, I can fly at 12,000 feet all the way there, and only here start my descent. Right, so it's up to you. Obviously that 1000 feet difference is not such a big difference, so if you descend to 11 or 12, the performance will be almost the same. But again, 1000 feet higher is always better than 1000 feet lower in case of any problems. So you should have like calculated how quickly you can descend, and again we can take this chart as our helper, because usually what's comfortable for passengers and also for you is maybe descend about maybe 500 feet per minute. So depending on your ground speed, that will tell you how many miles you will need to descend. So let's say that I'm doing a ground speed of 150 knots, right? I'm still in cruise, so that's a good enough ground speed. And I want to descend only by 500 feet per minute. That means I'm there. And my climb or descent angle will be 2 degrees only. And that means that I am descending only 210 feet per nautical mile. And since I need to descend 1000 feet, I know that I need to start my descent like 5 miles before Chesed. 5 miles before, 5 miles before Chesed, if I want to cross Chesed at 11,000. But again, I don't need to cross Chesed at 11,000, right? Because I need to be at my final approach fix at 9,100 feet. And that means I need to descend 3 nautical miles from 12,000 to 9,000. And in order to descend 3 nautical miles at 500 feet per minute with ground speed 150, I need how many nautical miles? It's 3,000 feet, so like 15 nautical miles, right? 15 nautical miles. That's basically mean that I need to start descending 15 before the butt. That's 9.2, so 6 before Chesed. Not 5, but 6. All clear about the descent planning? I hope so. All right. So, how to brief this approach? First, we'll notice that we have a final approach course of 259er. Runway landing is long 7,000 feet. Touchdown zone, that's the length of the runway. Touchdown zone elevation is 7,097, and the overall airport elevation is 7,135. Here we have circling not available at night. Circling not available south of runway 927. So that means that we are not able to circle on the south side. DME, RNP, NA, okay. That's just like kind of RNP. It's performance something. I just draw blank. I cannot remember what this means exactly. It's a performance. It's the P, but what was it?
It's a required navigation performance.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. Required navigation performance.
There it is.
Yeah, very well. Very good. And most important, when local altimeter setting not received, the procedure is not available. Right? So if for any reason you are not able to get the local altimeter setting for this airport and you are in IMC conditions, so you cannot cancel the IFR plan and you need to use that approach, then you cannot use that approach. Right? Alright, then we have important frequencies. This is a weather service. Then we have Oakland Center frequencies and Unicom CETA for this is 122.8. Now we have a plan or a map. So we said that we are going to start at Bishop. We need to fly a course of 322 for almost 17 miles. Minimum en route altitude 11,000. When we cross Chesed, and this is a fly-by point, so we don't need to cross Chesed. We can actually start turning before to align with this course. If we had any fly-over point, it would be in the circle here. And that means then you need to overfly that and then you can turn. Then we can descend to 9,100 feet, right? And fly course 247 for 9 miles. And then we have a final approach fix of Febat, and from there we are flying course 259er all the way to the missed approach point, or the runway, obviously. If for some reason we are not able to land, we need to go around, and we need to execute a missed approach procedure. Then we need to climb right turn to 13,000 feet direct Tepre, which is a GPS point here, and via track 044 to Ever, that's here, and via track 322 to Nickel, and then hold. So we would fly this course here. Obviously, it's designed to steer us clear of these mountains. When we arrive at Nickel, then we need to enter the hold, and I believe that this really calls for a direct entry into the hold, and we would fly this hold with the inbound course of 252 to Nickel. Notice that it says 8 nautical miles here as a distance, but remember, this is not mandatory. That means that 8 nautical miles is the maximum distance from Nickel that you should be. You can fly it shorter if you want. You can, for example, fly standard 1 minute patterns here. But obviously you can do the 8 nautical miles one if you want to, but it's quite long. A vertical profile there is also mentioned here, as well as the missed approach procedure. And it says that the visual descent point marked by this bold V mark is 4 nautical miles from runway 27, and the minimum descent altitude is 8,380 feet, which means it's about 1,300 feet above the airport. It's the same for all categories of aircraft. Category D is not able to land here. And then we also have the circling minima, which is a little bit higher for category C aircraft, but for us it's the same. Today, if the wind holds as it is, we should be using runway 9er. So that basically means that we should do the circle maneuver. This is not something that the ATC would clear us for. If we have a towered airfield, then any circling approach must be cleared. The air traffic control must clear you for the approach. However, this is the untowered field, so as soon as they clear you for the approach, they cannot clear you for the approach, like for the circling approach. They just clear you for the approach as a whole, and then it's on you to communicate on the CTA frequency your intentions correctly, and do the circling approach if it's needed. What does it mean to do a circling approach? There is no definition how it should be flown. There are certain kind of safety areas or protected areas for different kind of aircraft and for different altitudes. I don't know them off the top of my head. So, but the circling maneuver is any maneuver that will put you onto the runway. So you don't need to maintain any pattern. You don't need to fly it like a downwind and so on. Another thing is that it's probably smart to fly the normal VFR pattern, because if we have any other aircraft in the pattern or flying there and they are VFR, they will fly that pattern. So if you announce yourself in VFR terminology when you are close to the airport, it will help those VFR pilots to actually maintain situational awareness, and everybody knows where they are. One more important thing about this approach is that you can see that the final approach course is not aligned with the runway heading. And that's again, very simple reason for that, because they don't want you to fly close to those mountains here. So the final approach course is a little bit tilted. As soon as you see the runway and you have visual conditions, then you need to align with the runway and land. But today we will break off the approach if the wind holds as it is. and fly on the north side of the airport, and then the smartest thing to do is actually fly the normal VFR pattern. There. This approach doesn't have any LPV or vertical navigation. Some modern GPS units will provide the advisory like a vertical profile, but you need to make sure that you cross-reference it and you make sure that you stay above those minimum altitudes. In today's time, or there are like two methods how to do the vertical profile on the non-precision approaches, which this is one, and that's either like dive and drive approach, which means that as soon as you cross Yasat, you will descend to 9,100 and then you fly level at 9,100. When you cross Febat, you drop down to 8,380 and then you fly this altitude level until you are able to see the runway and descend. Or something called CDA, which is continuous descent, continuous descent approach, yes, and that means that you determine what kind of vertical speed you should establish to be able to descend, you know, to do like kind of a stabilized approach with a constant descent. For example, here we can see that we have a distance of 11.5 nautical miles, and we have basically, how much is it? We have 2,600 feet to lose. So 2,600 feet in 11.5 nautical miles. Can do a calculation beforehand. So I need to use. It's always struggling with what to divide with what. So we have 2,600 feet to lose, and we have 10.5 miles to do so. That means that we need to lose 250 feet per nautical mile, right? And again, we have this nice descent table, and if we need to lose 250 feet per nautical mile, let's say that it's somewhere in the middle. And since we are descending, we are probably a little bit slower already. So let's say I'm doing 120, and that means that my vertical speed again should be about 500 feet per minute from starting from Yasat. And that should put me at roughly this altitude at Febat, and then roughly at this altitude when I'm crossing 4 nautical miles from the runway. Just remember to watch for it. So if you descend faster, then obviously you need to level off, wait until you can descend further. I believe that was quite extensive, and that should be it. One last thing regarding the radio telephony. Be prepared that if we have an ATC, then you will be handed over, or your radar services will be terminated, because obviously you need to tune the CTAV and you need to communicate on the CTAV on the landing. So when you are cleared for the approach and when you are given that you are approved, like change to advisor frequency is approved for you, you can either acknowledge that, and then obviously either after you land or before, when you acquire the airport or you know that it will be VMC all the way down, then you can maybe immediately cancel the IFR flight plan with the ATC already there, and you will save yourself some hassle. But if you do not, remember that you still need to close your flight plan latest after you land. If it's VMC, close it sooner, because there will be more of us flying, so they would not be able to create another one until the first one or until the previous one landed. Or clear? Everybody's asleep now, right?
It's clear enough.
All right, guys. obviously, I am here for the entire flight, so if something is unclear, I will try to answer you if you ask. Also, I will be here after the flight. Feel free to discuss with me anything that maybe wasn't clear or any follow-up questions that came up during the flight. I will be streaming the flight as well. Do fly if you can. If not, maybe watch me flying. It's gonna be on Twitch. And happy flying, guys.
Happy flying.
All right, I've already done my work around, so not to lose any more time here. So I'll be back. And I'm back. So work around done, and we can start our aircraft. For that, I'll still think to the guys. Guys, one more thing from me. I totally forgot to mention that even though you are like you have your flight plan in your GPS and so on, it's still important to maintain the nav log and try to watch that flight. Make sure that you are using like a correct time and so on, so you know where you are at any time. Okay. So just make sure, yeah, that one is working. So let's get to it. We have slightly more in the left tank, so I'm gonna switch to left tank for now. Right. Side the fuel pump. Watch for the rising fuel pressure. There it is. Very good. You have outside temperature of 20 degrees. To prime at least once. This aircraft doesn't want to do that. Want to start otherwise. Right. We are above 3,000 feet, so I'll just correct the mixture slightly. Beacon goes on. And let's see. Body around. Start the aircraft. Right, fuel pressure, oil pressure in the green. Close these. And I can lean it a little bit more. Alright. Avionics gone, navigation lights on. I won't be refueling today, so I'll just skip that one. Yep, and exit. Feeling. Alright, let's go to flight plan. And we will need to add a waypoint of Bishop. K2 Bishop. Sure. To the VOR. Yes, that's a VOR. And I can also maybe select the approach already. Let's do that. RNAV 27. Transition will be Bishop. Yes, and just load, not activate. Right. Let's review the flight plan. Bishop, I hope it doesn't want me to fly all the way to Nickel. No. Yeah, that's the missed approach point, so good. Alright, so that looks valid. So again, back. Yeah, it's the map there. Alright. Waypoints, it's autopilot and time. Yeah, I need to select. Alright. Yeah. Something I need to do sometime else to configure my button to open the flight plan of my unit. Okay, so weather-wise, I want to check again what kind of winds we have. Yeah, that's not something I can see here, but we have a windsock. And the pressure, what pressure do I set? I believe that that depends. I'll just look up the airport elevation of 3908. So I want my altimeter to read 3908. So that's about there maybe. And it says 2992. Strange. Okay, but it can be, because then it's 2997 and then it's 3016. As far as the wind goes, I believe that it still favors runway 14, which is the one we're gonna use. So how many people do we have? You can see 2 people. 2 people apart from me. Okay, temperatures are fine. Right, final check if we don't have an ATC. No, we have nothing, but we got the squawk code, a transponder code that we should use, and it was 7251. So I'll just continue configure that one. Yep. Something strange here. Be back. 7251. Enter. Okay. All right. Then the CETA frequency for this airport is 122.9er, and then 122.8 is for our destination. 122.8, yes. I want to tune in the Bishop VR 113.35. So 113.35. Yes. Alright. Already it says Bishop DME. Well, I hope that I will be able to get the navigation there, and if not, I'll just use GPS. I will also configure that one to my nav2. So 113.35. And then switch to distance, because I want to see the distance. We probably don't have the signal yet, that's alright. I'm pointing 030, so let's do... Oh, I'm pointing... That's very convenient. Be like this. And I will be using runway 14. Which is roughly here, and we'll need to do some backtracking. I'll just ask guys here. Guys, do you want to kind of backtrack together, or should I go?
Feel free to go.
Sorry, say again?
Feel free to go.
Okay. Okay, so I'm just going.
Unless Eugene wants to follow.
Okay, I'll do the... Since I am basically on the beginning of the runway, I'll do my run up there. So, full mixture, 1800. Check that the engine looks good. I'll do the magneto check, so right one, have a little drop, almost 100 RPM, left one, the same one, very good. Now I'll need to cycle the oil in my propeller governor. At least 2 times. Was good. Reduce to 1500 and check that my carb heat is working. Yes.
Great. Okay, check.
5/5. Right, and idle. Okay, and back. Okay, I believe that we
So
can
yeah, I'm
go.
ready to go too, so I'll follow you.
Alright, I'm now going. Independence traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Papa Charlie, Piper Comanche on the apron. I'm entering runway 32 and taxiing on the runway to the start of runway 14, Independence.
Independence traffic number 9. For Charlie, Piper Comanche will follow the other Comanche and backtracking on the runway down to 14, Independence.
So strobe lights are on.
Independence traffic, Comanche 6529 Lima will follow the other Comanche. It looks like I'll be number 3. Down runway, backtracking runway 9er. Independence.
We don't have runway 9er.
Oh my goodness, what am I looking at?
There's only one runway, so you can just backtrack on the runway.
Roger that, backtracking on the runway, Comanche 6529 Lima.
Maybe you performed a time jump to our destination already. Yeah, I should be doing this to help cancel the effects of the wind. Why does it say Assad? Eh. Not correct. Ah. That one. Yes.
Thomas, are you taxiing on the runway or on the grass next to the runway?
Taxiing on the runway.
Okay. Funny scenery here because I'm on the center line right now.
Ah.
And you are in the grass.
And have you downloaded the scenery?
And you just drove through a sign back there. No, I didn't know there was scenery.
Yeah, I have a scenery,
But
so...
maybe that's why. Oh.
So landing lights, fuel pump, everything on. Mixture, let's say that I can do full. That's good. So I can go. We have a wind from the left. Alright. Independence traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Papa Charlie, taking off runway 14 left 45 degree, left 45 degree crosswind departure. Independence. Effects of the winds, kind of. Okay, let's accelerate. Gear up.
Feel free to go, Gene, if you're ready.
No worries. I got a few things I can do here.
Yeah, reducing.
Me too.
Right. Landing lights off, fuel pump off.
Independence traffic, November 9-1 Papa Charlie, taking off runway 14 for a left 45 degree crosswind. Departure, Independence.
Right. Independence traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Papa Charlie at 5,500 feet and turning northbound towards Bishop. Final call, Independence. It looks like that it's really just a DME here in Microsoft Flight Simulator and not the VOR. It's kind of funny.
Independence traffic, Comanche 6529 Lima, depart runway 14, left crosswind departure, Independence.
Now just speed up a little bit to 120. Try to maintain 120 in the climb.
Independence traffic, 9-1 Papa Charlie, 5,000 feet, runway heading. Turning northbound, leaving the area. Final call, Independence.
Right, 120 and not knots. Airspeed indicator is obviously in miles per hour. And we're gonna be climbing for some time, so I'll try to do like a rudder trim so I don't need to hold the paddles. See how that goes. Yeah, that's better. No, I don't have any signal from the VOR. It's kind of... I don't even have the distance. .335. It's identified correctly as well as a DME, but... See, in that case I should be switching here to GPS.
Anyone using the... I'm in 430 or 530.
Not me.
I'm using the free version of the GTN 750.
Oh, so I'm the only one using the old one.
Yeah, I have the...
I can't figure out how to activate.
I
Come
have...
again?
Yeah, I have this also GTN 750, but the PMS version.
I have my flight plan in the 430, but I'm not getting anything on the map. No magenta line or anything. Can't figure out how to activate it.
Maybe we can look after we land.
Can you maybe go direct to or something like that?
Okay, so
Yeah, that was my next option. Go direct to and see if I can add
reaching that VOR 16 minutes into the flight, roughly.
Bishop as a waypoint. I'm going to try that now.
Alright, still climbing. Make it all the way to 12,000. Well, I have the DME already. Let's see if I have the needle. I do. Okay. Let's actually fly direct viewer a needle I like. Obviously playing with the mixture to get the maximum RPM here. We are quite high, so I'll just increase that RPM a little bit. Time is 11 minutes in the air. It's at 16, but obviously first we took like a different direction and then probably not flying the same airspeed. We'll see. It says that I should be arriving there in 9 minutes. Yeah, so it's like 3 minutes more. But when we reach 12,000 we'll actually accelerate, so that will be a little bit different. I can already switch com frequencies. Of the rudder trim. So 12,000 feet. Accelerating and now reducing the RPM to maybe 1100. Let's try the lean finder today, if I can use it. I was already leaned. Okay. Fuel. Yeah, let's keep it on the left tank for now. So we are now flying for 14 minutes. And it says that's 4 more. The map. Yeah. The map says also 5 more. Okay. I also need to check the current altimeter setting at Bishop 29094. So let's put it here. There we go. Really nice here. 10 miles, so we should be able to see the Bishop somewhere there already. Using this instrument there to line. Going faster, I'm doing like 150 knots through airspeed instead of 140 than I planned with. On the left we have Sierra Nevada mountain range. That Mammoth Yosemite will be there around these edges. So after we cross Bishop, we are effectively on the approach portion of the flight, and it's gonna be 322 course. Try to synchronize if I can. It's kind of wobbly. More or less correct, just yeah. It's almost impossible. Yeah, 6 nautical miles from Yassat, we should start descending at the rate of 500 feet per minute, and hopefully get to our final approach fix just in time. So we're gonna return it to 322. There we go. And actually we're doing ground speed of 150. So I'll just reach over for my climb and descent table. Have it on paper here. Yeah, turned. So sending 155 knots, so 150, and I need to, yeah, Yeah, that's basically what I calculated with, I believe. So 3,000. Yeah, I need to lose 3,600 feet. Alright. So that's actually 5, 15, 18 times. 18 nautical miles. Okay. 18 nautical miles. Oh, so 9 miles before Yassat. Alright. 9 miles before Yassat, that means 4 miles more. So when this reaches 8. I'll get the altimeter settings. Time 3013. So I already tuned it here. 3013. Quite a difference. I believe it starts to time to descend. So I'll just lower the power. And I'll try to stabilize myself at 500 feet per minute. I will activate the approach. Yep. Okay, so it's kind of not there. That's better. And obviously I need to switch that one here.
Oh my God.
What's happening? Gene, any problems there?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I was muted. Yeah, yeah. I'm having. I made some mistakes in my flight plan, and I'm trying to kind of correct them on the fly here.
Ah. All right. So I'm gonna be slowing down a little. Pull the carb heat. And that's because I'm descending, I'm flying too fast and I would not be able to descend in time at my current speed, so I need to slow down a little bit. 11,000 all the way to Yassat. Then we have 247. Oh my. Send it a little bit more there. Okay, that's Yassat, then I can start descending more. Mammoth Yosemite traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Papa Charlie, Piper Comanche, currently about 13 miles from the airport to the east at 10,800 feet. We'll be flying the approach to runway 27 and then circling to land on runway 9er Yosemite. Now we can descend to 9er 1,100. Just slow down a little bit again. I'll put the chart on the second screen because I need to be able to reference it. I don't want to stop descending, let alone start climbing. I can put landing lights on, fuel pump on, make the brakes. So until Fibat, I need to maintain 9,100, or do not descend below 9,100. I even have the glide slope indicator, I just noticed, and I seem to be pretty on track. Maybe a little bit higher, you can see. So, and now then final approach fix, final approach course 259er. So just, oh, this is heading. Right about there. We are crossing Febat at 9,300. It's close enough. We are allowed to do so. And I can see the runway right there. Mammoth Yosemite traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Papa Charlie, 4 miles east of the airport at 9,200 feet, joining left downwind for runway 9er to land. Yosemite. Yeah, so I see the runway, so I'll break off. And I will descend. Yeah, I will keep a little bit higher. So I will descend to 8,400, which is the minimum descent altitude for the circling approach, even though I can go lower if I see, but I don't see any reason why I would want to.
Mammoth Yosemite traffic, November 91, Papa Charlie at Piper Comanche, 15 miles to the east at 11,000 feet. They are now 27 approach. And we'll be joining left downwind for runway 09er. How much is it?
The last reported winds were 130 at 10. So crosswind from the right. From the right? Yes, from the right. There's quite some terrain, so I'll just stay a little bit higher. And I believe that it's time to put a little bit more RPM. Landing gear goes down. We have a green light indication. Mammoth Yosemite traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Papa Charlie is at left downwind of runway 9er at 8,500 feet to land, Yosemite. Okay, let's do some maybe shorter one before this mountain. Okay, flaps 1, I believe that's flaps 9er actually. Full prop. And we're today gonna try to land with just these flaps because of the wind. Mammoth Yosemite traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Papa Charlie turning left base for runway 9er, full stop landing, Yosemite.
I wonder if Eugene is on the right frequency.
Yeah. Mammoth Yosemite traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Papa Charlie, turning final runway 9er, full stop, Yosemite. Again, gear is down. We have quite high approach speed. Let's just slow it down. A little bit of floating there, but I believe that overall it was quite alright. Landing lights off, fuel pump off. Strobe lights off. Mammoth Yosemite traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Papa Charlie runway 9er is vacated and taxiing to the general aviation ramp. Yosemite. And now I need to find where that general aviation ramp is. Yeah, okay, so to the left, obviously. Should not be getting any wind indication when on the ground, because the unit doesn't have any way how to compute that. I don't know why it shows. Try to look at it later. I believe that I should be able to turn it off, hopefully. Right, we have some Cessnas there. I said I will be watching the time, right, when I fly, and in the end I really did not. I checked that bishop, that's it. That's because, it's kind of because the flight was basically didn't have any waypoints fin, so I blame that. Yeah, obviously I blame myself, but that's beside the point right now. Okay, so we are here on the ground. We have landed. I have not switched the tanks as I promised as well, but we are still quite alright. I knew that I started with a lot of fuel in one tank, so didn't feel the need.
Mammoth Yosemite. Man ramp Papa Charlie joining left downwind for 79, and I have some other traffic inside on the downwind Yosemite.
I wonder if I want to hear them, so I need to turn the avionics off for now. Then I'll turn it back on. Can watch them land. But it's probably time to end this video and stream. Well, maybe video, but on the stream here I will continue watching for those landings, but for the rest, for the video purposes, I hope that you liked today's flight. It was in the end a pretty simple IFR flight into a great destination, as you can see. It's just marvelous up here. We were able to properly follow the descent path, was even to hit the target.
Mammoth Yosemite traffic, now I'm Papa
stay kind of stabilized.
Turning left base for 09 and has the traffic on final inside Yosemite.
So yeah, I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.